Hi everyone. Today I'm here with my fairly new friend, Joey. Welcome.
Hi everyone.
Joey is, maybe I'll actually hand it over to you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm glad that we finally actually sat down. Had a few hiccups along the way, mostly my fault, but yeah, I'm just so happy to be here and Effie's energy, and it's just so much fun. So yeah, I'm Joey. I'm an astrologer and tarot reader, and also I make like wire wrap jewelry and things like that. Still figuring things out as we all are, but I think I'm probably on the path to helping people like with their chart, sort of demystify astrology a bit, make it more practical, make it more grounded, and kind of weave astrology and tarot together because they're so connected and so interlinked. And they're beautiful tools that can help you with self-reflection, self-development, which I'm all about. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely love it. And I've actually had a reading done myself with Joey that I absolutely loved. Me and Joey connected just over 2 months ago when she came to a women's circle I was hosting at one of her close friends' house. And I feel like we just hit it off straight away.
Yeah, 100%. I just felt like you were really warm, really friendly, really kind and welcoming. And the other ladies that were there, we just all clicked and it was just so nice. And yeah, so I met you through Emily, my friend. She was like, I've met this amazing girl. She hosts these brilliant circles. And she said, and I've asked her if she wants to host one at my house. And I'm a bit nervous. And then she said yes. And so then it kind of just went from there. And yes, it's been really lovely, like us all connecting and getting to spend more time with her. And yeah, I just really needed like a space like that to connect. And I'm sure we all do, really.
Definitely, these women's circles, like I feel like they're fairly new. There's people that go to them regularly, and I feel like they're what our ancestors used to do. They probably weren't like scheduled; they just happened like naturally.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone who comes to one now, and you've obviously been to three of mine, in the last couple of months, everyone just wants to go to the next one. They're like, oh, I need this in my life. It's so good. It's just a space for you to be your complete self, to share what's on your heart, what's on your mind, connect with other women, celebrate each other. And I feel like we all leave feeling like supported, connected, empowered, and wanting to make good shifts. But also, I feel like people reflect back to us our strengths and what we're good at too.
Yeah, I find that a lot. I find that sometimes I'll be having like a up and down week or, and I can just sort of arrive however I am. There doesn't need to be any pretense, no like bells and whistles. Even though I'm meeting people that might potentially like want readings from me, it doesn't matter. I don't have to be like this certain person because I am just a human at the end of the day. I've just learnt these tools and we're all connecting on the same level anyway. And it's nice to have other people sort of support me, as I'm sure you feel as well. I know you're facilitating, but we all share and it's such a community thing.
Yeah, and that's probably how I'm maybe different to some other people that lead circles too, is that I do share within the circles.
Yeah.
Some like people that lead it don't, and they just facilitate it. But I'm like, no, I'm sitting in the circle with you, ladies. Like I'm here with you. I'm always happy to share my story and be vulnerable too, because I think we need that.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it feel more like a sleepover and less like we're all like, we're all in a specific little spot and we're all like it's very strong because you really adapt and you like can sort of change to the people in the environment and because there was one circle where we just wanted to chat and a lot of us just got stuff off our chest and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with it. So you have someone like that facilitating that can just sort of roll with it and share and be vulnerable as well. It's just really useful.
After the first time I met you, I was like, Joey, we need to do a session swap. I was like,
Yeah.
I need your services. And obviously, I would have paid for your services, but I was like, "Do you want to swap sessions?" Because I do love to do that with people and get to experience different people's offerings and gifts. And I absolutely loved my reading with you. You did me a astrology and tarot reading, and I love how when people do it in their own way as well, and you pre-record it, send it through. And I was so excited when I received it. I was like, "Yes, let me listen to this." And it just
Awesome.
felt so on point, all of it. And I just felt so seen. And this is the thing with different tools like astrology and tarot. Often it reflects back to us things that we may already know, but it's like, yes, that feels right to me. And I feel like it's also a permission slip to just be your authentic self. It reflects back who I truly am and my unique gifts too, because I think so often we can think the strengths that we have are the same strengths that everyone else has, but in reality, they're
Yeah,
not. Like, we're all
yeah,
here for a unique purpose and we're all here with unique strengths. And yeah, I guess it's quite validating.
yeah. It just makes me so happy. I get this feedback. Well, I've been having it recently of people saying they feel seen, like you just said, and that makes me so happy because that has been my whole healing arc of like trying to feel seen and heard and validated. So that's got to be a big part of what I'm here to do, is to offer that back to people. So it's like astrology and tarot is not necessarily going to give you the answers. I personally don't believe that tarot predicts the future. I actually think that's impossible.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
I think it's a tool because your subconscious works in images. So it's basically a tool to connect with your subconscious. That's what I think it is. And with the higher realms that I don't really understand and I don't really know or get how that works, but it works.
It does.
But from my little perspective on Earth as a little human, I'll see these sort of things. This is why I think I find it hard to read for myself because I'm too close to the situation, and I struggle to. Sometimes I get my partner to read for me. So I think if you hear it from another person, it's like you know these things, but you're getting validated from the other person, and it's comforting, and it's like mirroring back, like yes, you are correct in your intuition, and feeling this way, and because I'm kind of like saying this could be what's happening. This could be what's happening. This is the archetype. And then the client fills in the blanks of like, yes, this has been my arc and that's why this is coming up. So it is a collaborative thing. But I like
Definitely.
pre-recording them and sending them because then you've got it forever and you can keep going back
Definitely.
to it.
Yeah, so good. I was just looking over my notes before this session and reminding myself of it. And I was like, wow, that was so powerful. And I remember when I was listening, you were getting like physical sensations as well. And you were like, oh, I think there's some throat chakra stuff come up. And I was like, you're right.
Yeah. And I was like, is it mine? I'm not sure. No, but yeah, no, I get physical sensations. Sometimes I get like words appear in my head or images. Yeah,
Numbers as
certain
well. I remember you told
stories.
me a few
Yeah,
numbers and you were like, you might want to look into these. This might resonate for you. So
yeah,
it was just so fascinating.
yeah. I like weaving a lot of different things together. I just kind of go with whatever happens, and I watch other tarot readers, and I love it when they get sort of like I guess I'll call it downloads away from the cards. Like the
Yeah.
cards are a good tool, but what I really like is like, well, what are you kind of receiving? So whenever I get those kinds of things, I'm like, I'm just going to say it. It might sound weird, but I'm just going to roll with it. 9 times out of 10, it means something to someone. So
I remember you pulled me the potato card and it was like about the famine and I was literally about to go to Ireland the next day and I'm half
yes,
Irish and I was like this is all just yeah so good.
this is what I mean. And I had one reading. I know she won't mind me sharing. I pulled this card and it was really reminding me of like gardening and plants. And we've been talking about the heart chakra a lot. And I was like, maybe it'd be good for you to get a heart-shaped plant or to nurture like a plant that's heart-shaped to like kind of connect with that. And then she voice noted me the next day saying she realized that there's a plant in her living room that's really, really struggling and it's heart-shaped and green. And she was like, that was the message to like nurture that because it was like kind of metaphorical. Because I do believe that as well,
Yeah.
energetically. If you've got heart chakra stuff, then that heart-shaped plant might be sort of struggling. It's quite a nice, I don't understand how it works, but there's
We
something
don't need
going on
to.
there where it reflects, doesn't it? There's like images that reflect.
Definitely. I love the holistic approach. I would love to hear how did you get into astrology?
Hmm. Well, I think it's probably more worth kind of talking about how I started healing. I won't kind of go too far down the rabbit hole, but I've been on a healing path for about 15 years now, I think. Starting with when I moved out of my family home about 21, moved to Brighton for a bit to study music. And then when I got there, I think because I'd sort of had a big life change. A lot of like baggage came up basically. And that's when I really started thinking, okay, maybe I need to like get some counselling, sort myself out, bits and bobs like that. And that started a whole mental health journey, like from a traditional perspective. And then I think I started going to hypnotherapy at one point. And I remember saying to the lady, like, I feel like there's this other side of me, but I'm trying to like fit into this box and be this person. Even the way I dressed was different. And I was like, yes, I'm this like corporate person, and no shade, like there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I nearly went down that route. Like I
I
think I was
can't
a
imagine you
finance
as a corporate gal.
I was a financial director at one point. It's actually yeah. And then I remember saying to her, like, I feel like there's this other side of me that's kind of I felt really silly at the time. I was like, it's kind of more like witchy or sort of hippie, I guess you could call it. But I feel like people will reject me if I start embracing it. And she was like, why don't you just see what happens? And people embrace it, luckily. I mean, I've had a few bits here and there.
But
So
those
anyway,
people
then
are
I
not for
started
you if they don't. And I think this is also when you
exactly,
attract the people that are for you, when you're being your
yeah,
authentic self. The witches find you. I wouldn't have
yeah.
found you.
Exactly. And mainly, yeah, I've had a lot of changes in my relationships and friendships, which ties into my Saturn return, which we'll get to. But all that to say that I think my mum first introduced me to tarot when I was about 16. So I've always had an interest. I remember going to my first witchy shop when I was about 12 and I was looking around and I was like, oh my God, this is magical. Where are we? So it's always there, like in the background. And then I think I read Witch by Lisa Lister when I was about 25. She's a bit controversial, but it opened my eyes, especially when she was talking about how witch just means wise woman. That's it. And it's been made to be this really big, scary thing. So then I started learning about witchcraft and all these things. And then there was like cosmic lunar witch. And I was like, what's this? It's magical and like purple and starry and wow. And yeah, and then I started learning about astrology basically. I always had a little bit of an interest, like in our family, we used to have the Sun newspaper, unfortunately. But in the back was Mystic Meg, wasn't it, with the horoscopes? And I remember every week I'd just flip to the back of the horoscope. So it's always been there, just developed.
Yeah, I think everyone has a niggle, and you're always being called towards where you're supposed to be called. And as a child, it's often easier or younger because we do follow our intuition and what we feel guided towards. And then I think we get influenced by society and feel like what we focus on what we think we should be doing. And it's how can we unlearn that and come back to like who we really are and what we're really interested in? Because that's always going to lead us to where we're supposed to go.
Exactly, yeah. And I remember getting a little spell book, I think when I was about 9. This little those pages that you flip and they've got like little animations in the corner. It had
Yes.
like a little cat like moving its tail. I've got loads of I had 5 cats, I've got 3 now, so I'm full on witch vibes now. Like, I'm just leaning into it. If I'd been back in the day, I would have been gone. Red hair, cats, witchcraft, gone.
Love
But
it.
we're so lucky now that we can embrace these things and follow this path, and it's a really magical time, I think.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, what do we want to dive into next? Saturn return?
Yeah. So, just in case anyone's completely new to astrology, so when you're born, all the planets in the sky were doing something, and they were all near zodiac signs. That's the easiest way to explain it. If you imagine someone laid on their back, took a picture of the sky, and then printed it out and drew a big circle, all that's in that circle will be your birth chart. And there'll be planets in there, there'll be constellations in there, all sorts of stuff. So one of those planets was Saturn, which is quite far along in our solar system. It's not too far away from Earth, but it's far enough away that it's kind of like a bit of what they call an outer planet. So it has a lot of weight, it has a lot of influence, but it also means it's quite slow. So it changes constellations or zodiac signs every 30 years, which means basically, so when you were born, Saturn would have been, let's say, in Pisces when you were born. And then it will go off into another sign. Then 30 years later, when you approach your 30s, it will come back to Pisces. And what Saturn does, its archetype, I call it like a slightly grumpy professor. Like he won't let you extend your work deadline because he knows you need to learn that that's not how it would work in the real world. That's the best kind of archetype. Um, he's a bit mean, but he helps initiate you into adulthood, basically.
Yeah.
So when Saturn returns to your chart, you might be faced with lessons, basically, life lessons. could be around anything. It really depends where it is in your chart. So yeah, do you want me to dive into mine and kind of what happened there?
Yeah, go for it. I'll say as well though, like so
Yeah,
many of my friends ended long-term relationships in their 30s, and me included. For me, it was like as soon as I turned 30, I already thought I'd gone through my Saturn return because I feel like, well, what I know, I think, is that it's kind of between 27 and 31,
yeah.
depending whatever. And I thought that I'd been through my Saturn return because I'd gone through my burnout journey. I'd like quit my normal job and I'd like gone on this big personal development healing journey. And I was like, yeah, I've done all of that. And I remember reading up about the Saturn return and reading the book by Kagi Dunlop. And I remember being like, oh yeah, I'm not going to struggle that much with mine because I'm already living in alignment. You know, when you think, oh, it's going to be like quite easy for me. And then I got to 30 and I was like, oh, it's coming around again. I felt like Saturn was just kept coming for me. And yeah, then I ended
Agreed.
my almost 7 year relationship. But so many people do the similar things. It's either, yeah, changing jobs, or some people are obviously like getting married and like having children, and they're like big pieces within their life. But yeah, they're like some of the major things that often happen.
I think it's just whatever's kind of misaligned
Yes,
will be
falls
like,
away.
come
Yeah.
on, it's time to go. But the hard part is that it's kind it seems like, or it was for me, it's like you've got to do it. It's like whereas like a planet like Uranus or another planet that can be like a harbinger of change will sort of do it for you. A bit like a tower moment sometimes. Saturn will be like, this is the teaching. What are you gonna do? And that niggle will not stop during
Yeah.
your Saturn return. It's there. Mine was there for 2 years when I wanted to end the relationship. Like you were saying, you sort of felt like you could feel your Saturn return. I would say, yeah, the energy around it, like even like a couple or a few years after, is still kind of the dust is settling. My partner's just been through his, and he still keeps having the lessons sort of coming back up a little bit, but they've lessened. Like the main lesson has kind of like worked its way through and it's kind of calming, but it crops up again. But that is because Saturn is revisiting that part of his chart again right now. So, um, but yeah, it really is so interesting. And I always think of it like an initiation into the next phase of adulthood. So I was with someone for the whole of my 20s. We were engaged, we had a business together,
I only just
so
learned
much
this a few
stuff.
days ago.
Yeah, it's and when I actually looked into my Saturn placements, when I dug more into it, where Saturn was in my chart represented relationships and also could speak to business partnerships. So when I learned that, it was mind blowing moment. Um, but I do think it really taught me about, well, firstly about not staying in a situation that is so completely different from who you are for too long, if you can help it. I know sometimes we get stuck and it is really frustrating,
I've
but
done it
Saturn
too.
will kind of press on that, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I also think it's kind of like yeah, just kind of like an initiation, like where are you going
I
in your
think it's
life?
always
It's
like a,
this reflection.
yeah, portal into the next chapter. And I don't think it's something to be feared. I think a lot of people are like scared of the Saturn return.
Yeah,
And yeah, like it can like bring up some stuff, but it's only for our highest good.
yeah. And I think as a side note, astrology anxiety is such a real thing. My astrology tutor talks about it fairly regularly. Because obviously he's so like good at astrology now. He'll see transits come in and he could easily be like, oh, look at the negative. But there's infinite ways an astrology transit can pan out. And he's of the belief, and I'm kind of getting to this sort of point with it. A lot of people think astrology is like a science, but he sort of places it as more it's more of a divination like tarot. We're kind of just interpreting what might be the case. So it's not necessarily so black and white. It's not like this is going to happen, it's going to cause this thing. It's more of like a mirror, I think. It's very like esoteric. It's kind of hard to grasp, but it's like as above so below, basically. It's kind of like what's happening down here on earth, you can connect it to what's happening in the sky and vice versa. It's not necessarily like it's going to cause that thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if this is anything to do with astrology, but just in general and spirituality, I believe that there's things in our life that are like predestined or predetermined, potentially like relationships we're going to have, or careers we're going to have, or people we're going to support in our lives. Obviously, we have free will as well. And I think even the things that are potentially predetermined, there's not always going to be like an exact date for them. Like these
No.
things can all shift around and change depending on what we do, but also what the collective does. What other people do
Yeah.
impacts us.
Yeah. And there's so many things that are outside of our control anyway, without the cosmos influence. I think we place the blame on ourselves a lot with a lot of things, and I've definitely done this throughout my life. Thinking that you're the problem, you're the issue. But sometimes genuinely it is actually out of your control and things aren't your fault. But then you're not just like this tiny person that can't do anything to make yourself feel better. You do have some like weight in your life and your decisions, and you can make things easier for yourself. So I think having a tool like astrology can help you understand what might come up, not for anxiety purposes, but just for like, okay, I'm aware of that, you know, that could be a thing. Maybe I'll just sort of like, I don't know, not necessarily start a new project during Mercury retrograde. I mean, you can if you want, but
But then if all
maybe
the
just give
technology is going to
yourself,
be wild, then you kind of know why. That's what I think sometimes. I
yeah,
think, how can I focus on the things that are within my control and then surrender to the things that aren't? And
yeah,
sometimes when I'm really trying to do something and it's just not working out, I'm like, there's probably a reason for this. So why don't you just
yeah,
slow down, listen to the signs?
yeah. Well, it's like because we had this booked for Friday, didn't we?
Yeah,
Was it Friday? I
a
can't
few
remember.
days ago anyway.
Yeah. Mercury was retrograde. It's gone direct today in Leo, and I've got my Mercury in Leo. So Mercury is the way you communicate, talk, and express yourself.
We're
So it's
meant to do
almost
it
like the
today.
universe was like, just wait till Monday. Just wait.
And I love that we're doing this in Leo season when you're a
Yeah,
Leo sun sign and I'm a Leo
yeah,
rising. Are you
yeah.
a
I
Leo rising
know.
as well?
No, Cancer rising,
Okay, yeah.
which kind of explains why I can be a little moody crab and also quite sensitive and hippie. But again, this is another thing that really opened my eyes with astrology. Learning my big three, which is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Rising sign, for those that are new, is where the sun was on the horizon when you were born. Like, was it nighttime? Was it daytime? It's more specific to you. When I learned that I was a Cancer rising, it made so much sense because I've never really fully clicked with Leo because Leos are supposed to be like bold and confident and big and loud, and I'm like, quite a lot more reserved. So this is another way it's validating because I might have had the thoughts from the years like, oh, I'm not confident. I need to work on that. And don't get me wrong, I have sort of tried to work on that, but it's also accepting that that's not the main part of me.
Yeah. It's your sun sign isn't everything. And I loved learning about that as well for me, because I think I told you before, I used to be so drawn to Scorpios and be like almost jealous. I was like, I want to be a Scorpio. Like I had this like, yeah, pull towards them, but I'm a Gemini sun. And I have always resonated to some degree with a Gemini. Like I'm very like curious, chatty, adaptable, and like love ideas and knowledge. But when I found out I'm a Scorpio moon, which is like, correct me if I'm wrong, how you see yourself or something
Yeah,
like
and
that,
like your emotions,
your
sometimes your
internal
body, your
world.
environment. Yeah,
And then also I have a Scorpio stellium. So I have like four Scorpio in my chart and I have more Scorpio than anything else. I was like, this just makes so much sense because Scorpio is
yeah,
all about like depth, transformation. And I
yeah,
am a very like intense, deep person. I think I'm someone who, on the outside, I think people see me and they're like, you're confident, fun, bubbly, probably am Leo vibes, like
Leo.
with
I
my
was
Leo
gonna say,
rising.
yeah,
But I am someone who is like very deep, and I think definitely when you have a conversation with me, you can see that side.
yeah. I think probably as well, like people do see my Cancer rising quite a lot of like quite sensitive, quite soft. But my Virgo moon makes a lot of sense because it's that analytical brain. And I mean like astrology and Virgo moons, like trying to put your emotions into a spreadsheet, yes. That's
Love that.
basically like astrology. Obviously it's a joke. You have to take that with a pinch of salt and not get too analytical, which is something that I have to watch. I have to try not to get too cerebral about everything. and kind of like ground it down a little bit. And like, I do think my Leo sun is here to actually get me to lighten up a bit.
Love it. There's so much we can learn about
Yeah.
ourselves. For my audience watching this, I'd love to give them a little bit of a deeper insight into me and I guess what I'm here to do. And I know when you did your reading for me, we spoke a lot about like my Scorpio placements and some of the others, and it was talking about how my healing journey has been like going through the depths of it and coming out stronger and embracing, I feel like, my vulnerability and being vulnerable with other people and teaching people that it's okay to like express their emotions. And like it was talking about how my strength is like helping people transform their lives from the inside out.
Yeah, 100%. I think even without like just knowing you, without looking at your astrology, you do really come across as that. You kind of like, so sometimes if I'm on a bit of a negative one, like even though we've not known each other very long, you're really good at like being like, I'm just gonna query that. There's like a little bit of like a discernment about you where you're like, there's something else going on there. Not like you're lying to yourself, but a little bit. Like you will sort of call it out, but in a really kind, compassionate way that I'm fine with because I try and be like quite self-aware and I want that. I want people to call me out and stuff.
I would say I give a
Um,
loving nudge. That's how I describe it. Like I'm
yes.
gonna push you, definitely,
Yeah.
but like in a loving
Yeah.
way.
No, it's not horrible at all. It's not uncomfortable. You would never like make anyone feel uncomfortable. It's just like it's like a reflective sort of mirror, isn't it? Of like the deeper parts that are going on, which makes sense for Scorpio, and the Scorpio moon as well, because the moon is reflective, isn't it? On the water and everything like that. Oh, that's a nice analogy. You're like reflecting on the emotions.
Love it. Because my
Wow.
name, Ellen, as well, means light. So I think I like bring light to stuff that people need to know or see.
You bring light to the depths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's quite a intense job title.
So work with me if you want to transform your life from the inside out, but have fun doing it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not scary at all. I had a coaching call with you and it just helped me. You just helped me clarify my thoughts, my feelings, validated me, gave me confidence, and like helped me realize. So it could just give me the push, but not in a nasty way. Just like like a nudge, a loving nudge. Just like
To do
you
what
can
you
do that
already want to
thing.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You already know inside what you
yeah.
wanted to do.
Yeah. And also you just say things in such a straightforward way, like in your meditation circle, you were saying you're calling in the elements. I said about this, didn't I? And you were saying calling in water and knowing that any obstacles, I think it's something like there's a path through.
Yeah.
Because you do that as well. You kind of help to remove obstacles because you kind of reflect it and you're like, but what about this thing you could try? And it's like I can't because my Virgo mind will just come up with more and more obstacles. But you're there and you're ready and you're like, okay, what about this though? And I'm like, oh, I can't actually
I'm like, that's not
disagree
really
with
an
that.
obstacle. We can get rid of that one. Next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so helpful though. It's very yeah, it's just comforting and it's a nice energy as well.
Love it. Oh, this has been such a fun chat. I'm so excited as well to say that Joey is going to be doing a guest expert training in my upcoming program. So last year I ran a program called Explore Your Purpose, and it was all about not necessarily finding your purpose, because I think a lot of people do feel the pressure to like find it or am I on the right track, but actually release the pressure and have just fun exploring what your purpose is, but not just exploring it, like how can I live it? Because I think at the end of the day, our purpose is just to be authentically ourselves and to follow the nudges, do the things that we love, embrace our strengths. And yeah, I'm excited that Joey's going to be doing a workshop all about astrology to support people as well. So if you're interested, you can join the waitlist with the link below, or this might even be live at the time that you're listening to this. If so, I'll put a link below as to how you can watch the program. It's going to be a self-paced course, so you can do it in your own time.
I'm so excited for it. I'm really looking forward to like putting it all together. I'll make like a little worksheet to go along with it if you want to do that. Yeah, I've already got a few ideas, like the ideas are pinging all around. So I'm excited to just sort of get them out and yeah, just share with you guys and hopefully like help some people. Yeah, like you say, I think purposes like can be a loaded word. But I think it's also like with the astrology part of it, it's not necessarily like, oh, your house of work is in Aries or something, or so you have to be an entrepreneur. Like it's not like that. Like I said,
No.
there's multiple archetypes, so it's just about this could be something. Like here's a little bit of a blueprint if you want to follow that. But it's kind of open to interpretation. Just again, learning more about yourself and where your strengths might be.
It is. It's an invite to explore and get to know yourself deeper. And with the modules that I'll be providing, it is looking into your strengths, living by your values, looking at your unique timeline and what you're here to do, as well as so it's like the tools to find out more, but then also how can we remove your limiting beliefs and how can we step into your inner power and connect with your inner power so that you feel confident to be able to do the things that you really want to do. Yes. And then I'd love for you to share how people can book in sessions with you if they want a one-on-one session too.
Yeah, so I've recently come off social media. It's still live, so you can message me on there. I just check it less regularly. The best way to get in touch with me is to go on my website, which is joeyclaire.co.uk. There's contact forms and banners all over the website, but my email is joeyclairedavidson@gmail.com. You can just email me directly. But if you're a bit like me and you like to do your research a little bit more first, I've got on my website page a reading section where you can look at all the readings I offer, how to book. And yeah, if you've got any questions, you're always welcome to email me. That is the best way to get in touch with me. And I've got my newsletter, which you can also sign up to, which is on the homepage. I'm going to update it monthly with insights, tips, kind of moon musings, little updates, things I've been doing, and yeah, obviously sharing any collaborations and community stuff that I've been attending. And I just really would like to build like something personal and yeah, connected. So yeah, I'd love to get in touch with any of you if you want to reach out.
Love it. I'll put your details in the link below as well for anyone to just find it with ease too.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you so much for this conversation. And yeah, absolutely loved it. If you've got any final words you want to share, either about astrology or whatever.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would like to just say is I know astrology is really overwhelming because I hear it all the time. And it's normal. I was overwhelmed as well. If you hear astrologers talking about, if you hear like little words, like when I first heard the word house, I was like, what on earth is that? And then you just go down that rabbit hole. If you hear them say something else, so like podcasts, YouTube, just little bits and bobs, you just pick it up along the way. You're not going to know it all straight away. And then obviously, if you want to chat to me, if you have any questions, I'm open to that. And yeah, if you want to like book a reading in with me and I can point you in the right direction just to give you a foundation, and then you can kind of go from there. So yeah, don't worry if you get overwhelmed, it's normal.
That's the magic of having a reading with someone who knows what they're talking about is that they can make it make sense to you. And like one of
Yeah,
your gifts is being able to give people like more of the practical stuff behind it.
that's my Virgo moon.
Yes. Anyway, hope everyone has an amazing rest of the day and mwah!
Thanks so much for having me. See you later.